Hello and welcome to this week's program of the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley. Each week we connect with and hear from fascinating inspirational speakers, often with a message focused on our interests in innovation, entrepreneurship, and education. As a Rotary Club, we look for ways that these programs might foster new approaches to improving communities near and far. We're glad you've joined us and hope you'll enjoy how we're exploring how technology can serve the business of service to others. And this week, I'm very happy to have the Castro Valley Rotary Club and their program, Breathing for Life. Over to you, Opsi.
Hi, my name is Opse Lubo. I'm a Rotarian with Castro Valley Rotary Club. I am part of the Breathing for Life committee that worked on the Breathing for Life project, bringing oxygen generator to a city of Nejo in Oromia region of Ethiopia. I have a picture to share with you all to tell a story of how this all started. This boy is on the bed in the hospital. I am the lady next to him. This guy came in with asthma attack. He was on oxygen, but the hospital only had one cylinder oxygen to use. And another guy who was in his 50s came in with a car accident, actively bleeding. So the surgeon needed the oxygen to be wheeled to the operating room. Because of that, they had to take this guy off of oxygen and wheel the cylinder to an operating room to do a surgery. I was in the hospital doing our tours. I was in Nejo Hospital for a mission trip doing cataract surgeries with the physicians. I took a picture with this guy. I wasn't sure what is going to happen to him. When they asked me, I said, I'm going home. Just let me know how it goes. And I was worried. The next morning when I went back to the hospital, this boy had passed due to lack of oxygen. It just hit me. I've been back and forth to Ethiopia for quite some time, since 2009, doing a medical mission trip, but this is the most tragic that has happened to me or to the community at large. I came back and discussed what I've seen with Joe Hamilton, who is on the call today. He was with Sanibel Rotary at the time, and Javoy Koshi, who was an international service chair at the time. I discussed it with them, and we brought the idea to our club, and Joe Hamilton introduced me and the club to Assist International, who Jim is part of. Jim Stankel is the VP of the Assist International. So this is how all it started. This picture was taken in 2014, early like January, February of 2014. So this project has taken us about 6-7 years. We've done a lot of collaboration. We had to find a host club in Ethiopia who we worked with. Finot Rotary Club was our host for this project, and we had to make a needs assessment. We traveled to Nejo with Jim and a cadre from RI, and we traveled to Addis, the capital city, with Jim and Joe Hamilton to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Oromia Regional Health Bureau and the Nejo Hospital and the Finot Rotary. So this whole thing started because there is only one place the people of Ethiopia could get oxygen. They have to travel to Addis Ababa. For us, from Nejo, it's about 10 to 12 hours on the road. They usually don't start driving or getting the oxygen until they're on their last cylinder. So the whole project was to save lives and reduce any deaths that could come due to lack of oxygen. And with the entire district 5170 rallied behind us, in about 3 different countries, and I want to say 4 or 5 other districts that contributed to this project. Like I said, this guy is the driving force why we started this project, and my BFL committee who are on here, we collectively achieved all this. We all took part in it. We all own the project, and I'm sure they will talk more how we all got here. So I will end my presentation on this one. Thank you.
Thanks, Obsi. My name is Cliff Sherwood, and I'm a past president of, or two-time past president of Castro Valley Rotary, and I've been involved with this project since the start. Once OBSI brought it to us, we all understood the meaningful changes that we could make through this project in Ethiopia. And consequently, we all jumped on board and said, yes, we'll be a part. And we started to break the pieces down into what we needed to do to make it happen. I took the financial pieces, and with Jim's help, Jim Stunkel's help, we put together a budget of about $370,000, which included the acquisition of the oxygen generator. We needed a backup electrical generator as well, because power is frequently cut off in Nedjo. The rest of it is basic, supplies and shipping and so forth. But an important part of it was about $14,000 that we set aside for community education to make this a sustainable project that we felt was an important project of what needed to happen to educate the public there on better habits and better use of their medical resources so that they didn't need as much oxygen. The other piece was the sustainability piece. And what we did is we said that, this will be excess capacity. And the numbers we started with were roughly 50 cylinders a day. We took about half of that at $15 a cylinder, and we generated about $117,000 by selling oxygen to other nearby hospitals. There were about 5 or 6 that we knew we could sell to immediately. Part of our expenses were covered through that, the operating costs for fuel, for personnel, for training, for excess parts and so forth, and staffing. So what we ended up with was about a $65,000 surplus, which we then plan on using for additional community education and sustainability. So the project is complete now. The building that the community and the hospital built is up. The generator and the oxygen generator and the power generator are both installed and running. So Jim, do you want to take over and take us through the next piece?
You're on mute.
Thank you very much, Cliff. I really appreciate the opportunity to join in this presentation today. I'm a member of the Tri-Valley Evening Rotary, and I was at a club meeting one night when our guest speaker was a young woman named OBSI. And in fact, it was the champion of this project who came as a guest speaker to pitch the vision of this project to my local club. And as we heard about the vision for this project in Ethiopia, my club members know that my profession is to work for Assist International and to provide medical projects for programs around the world. And in doing so, they all looked at me and said, you should know who OBSI is because you might want to have something to do with this. Well, little did I know that she had already been speaking to Joe Hamilton and the president of Assist International, my boss, about casting the vision for this. And so the wheels were already set in motion, and it was been my great privilege to be the engineer of the implementation for this project, to put together the design of the oxygen plant itself, the design of the property. And so OBSI and Joe had me travel with them to meet government officials in Ethiopia, to sign contracts at the government level with letters of intent, to do design plans, to visit the site, to get out a tape measure, to meet the staff, to find the piece of ground where we're going to put a foundation in and then later bring the oxygen plant. The adventure of just going to Ethiopia in itself has been fantastic. To meet these people, these doctors, of course, so grateful that folks like Rotarians from District 5170, who they'll never meet, but they know stand behind them in spirit and in gifts in kind, and to pay financially to save lives in their part of the world is so meaningful to them. And so to be able to start that project, work with governments, and OBSI is right. And Carol, you'll hear this was a 6-year project, working with the Ethiopia Rotary Clubs, working with the International Rotary Foundation, sending their doctors from Europe to meet with me and the director of the hospital on site, do their assessment, and then also look at the lay of the land, interview other hospital staff to validate the project so that the international matching funds would come together from the foundation to come together with the funds that have been raised by Castro Valley Rotary Club. I have to say it takes a champion. Carol, Cliff, Opsy, they are the champions that saw this through. And for anybody that ever has in mind to do a project, if you have the heart to do it, and you will not let go against all obstacles, in 6 years from now, the vision came true and lives are being saved today. Every week I get reports. Every week we are following up on the sustainability plan, the production levels. This is the kind of project that is coming to fruition, saving lives. This is the heart of Rotary, putting service before self. So it's been a pleasure to be a part of this project. Carol, I think it's over to you.
Well, I was coming into my presidential year at Castro Valley Rotary in January of 2016, getting trained by District 5170 people when I first got involved with this project. I was overwhelmed with duties of becoming president, but then when presented with my job for the year would be to raise, and it started out at 184,000 when I first came to understand the program. And I thought, okay, well, that's a lot, but we can do that. And we proceeded. At that particular point, the team that had been introducing this project to different clubs and at all the district meetings, and we'd raised $25,000 up to that point, reaching to 184. I thought, okay, well, I better get busy. And that was what I set to do. I'm by profession a financial advisor, and I help people develop philanthropic plans for their estates. And I thought, okay, I was put here for a reason, and I know I can go do this. So that was not insurmountable to me. I think about people today under this pandemic environment having to raise money. We got to go out and stand in front of people. Now you get to do it on Zoom. We related our story with passion in person, and I think it was simpler for us to do it that way. So you have a great challenge for you, but let me tell you where challenges will allow you to grow. Our project went from 184,000 in the beginning to, once all the team had met with the needs assessment and the cadre, and Jim and Joe and Jim and Opsy had come back from Ethiopia, it went from 184 to 355, and that was without the sustainability portion, which took it to 370. So suddenly here we were, oh my gosh, we got to go leaps and bounds above what we thought. December 16th of 2016, was the day we realized we were going to be 100,000 short. But you have to be creative when you're in that seat of leading and building funds for a project like this. I'm going to show you what we ended up building, and I'm going to share my screen because it was bigger than us. It was bigger than, okay, let's see how to do this again. Showed me, oh, share, here it is. I got it. This is the building that was going to be built. This is the area, this is the equipment that was going to be shipped from the US to Ethiopia to be able to supply the oxygen. And this is the team on site that was responsible. And you'll see Jim there in the picture right there with all of these people supporting him and getting this job done. The timing of it was so important because December 16th to December 31st, we were $100,000 short. So as a financial advisor, I knew one thing: the year ends December 31st. And guess what? All new philanthropic plans start over January 1. So we went to the district and asked for an extension to January 31st instead of December 31st, because we knew we could go back out to our community, and we knew we could go back to the people that had a heart for this first and help them understand where we were shy. And you know what? We met our goal January 31st for the entire amount. Actually, we had more than that. So it was a matter of, if you have an inclination for a project, you have a heart for it, just like Jim had said, and you have the capacity, you know, people who have the capacity to be able to help you reach that goal, then you have everything that you need. You just have to get the message out. And we're people, we did fundraisers that didn't happen. I think I was going to do a dinner dance with our club, and we couldn't get enough people to make it work. So we ended up having what I ended up calling a Drazer event. There's a fundraiser without the fun. And it was responsible for $21,000. I had to personally call everybody back and say, we didn't make enough to be able to have this event. Would you be willing to still donate that money for it so we can reach our goal? Everything was done on a club basis. Every member that I know of in our club got involved to some level in giving money or reaching out to friends that they knew who had the heart and the ability to give. So without the entire team, this wouldn't have happened. And it was really, the follow-up on it, I sent Cecilia Babkirk a kind of a little Word document with the parts that were required and things that you need to do if you're running the fundraising portion of it, because it's really important to keep your records. But when you do, and then keep everybody updated. Once they've given their money, they want to know, how did it go? How did it go? And you need to share with them the success, which we have. So anyway, great team to work with. I mean, these are my best friends in my Rotary Club. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much. That I'm inspired. I really love the story, and it's incredible to hear the journey. Before we get into the question and answer, I want to just introduce the members on our club, and so from the Castro Valley and Jim on the project team, we have Joe Hamilton, Carol, Jim, Cliff, and Opsy. And then from our club, we have Rushton Hurley in California. We have Sandy also in California, Cecilia and Shags in California. We have Tanya in Atlanta, and myself based in British Columbia. And for the first question, I think that goes to Rushton.
Nick, before you do that, if
please.
I can add a couple comments. It really is something to see a club the size of Castro Valley, which I don't know what their membership is now, but probably 50 to 60 members when they first started. And they were able to accomplish this. Is an amazing feat. This is the largest single global grant in the history of the district, and that I know of anyway. And it really is a tribute to the club, the planning committee, which stayed together throughout this effort. Obsi, who is the inspirational leader and had a lot of the connections in Ethiopia, along with Jim, who had many connections, and a person by the name of Bob Paget, who's the founder of Assist International. And Bob, right from the beginning, when I took Obsi over to meet with Bob, Bob is the kind of person who doesn't say no. He says, how are we going to do this? And then he figured out how to do it. And so I just wanted to mention that this was a tremendous accomplishment. Cecilia Babkirk was mentioned by Carol in passing as, getting an extension in terms of the use of our DDF. Well, Cecilia was the district grant sub-chair at that time. And if it wasn't for Cecilia, we wouldn't have been able to move forward on this. So I just wanted to pipe in. I'm a past district governor, and I had a little bit of influence and ways to help, but mainly it had to do with the core team in Castro Valley Rotary that accomplished this enormous grant. And I think their club is much stronger because they undertook this. And I've noticed that that club has tended to prosper since then. And I think that it's a lesson for any other club that wants to undertake a project of this sort. So thanks.
Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it. That I really appreciate calling out all the players and how it's benefited you, because that's great to hear. Russian, go ahead with your first question.
So obviously, first of all, I mean, obviously your heart for what happened is what set this in motion. And it was heartbreaking to hear about the young boy. As I think about the kind of good that this project shows Rotary can do, how do we get people into a space where they might be able to get excited about these things before tragedy occurs? I know I'm asking you like a crazy difficult question, right? But you made something amazing happen, and so what can we learn from it that might save that boy's life, you know, that next boy's life?
So we pretty much, we've lost a boy, but we are en route to save millions of kids' life with this machine. So the oxygen generator is bound to serve about 2.2 million people in the Western Oromia region of Ethiopia. That's the only oxygen generator in the region, actually. So like Jim said, we get reports every week from the manager of the oxygen center that the local hospitals in the region are going to Nojo to refill their cylinders. And tragedy doesn't have to happen for us to help people. And this happened to happen and became, this project was born out of this boy's death. But there are a lot of events that would lead us to work on a project. Just laying out for me, I grew up in that city. I grew up in Ethiopia before moving to the US. I've seen how life was, even though I did not experience the life of my neighbors. I did not go through what they've been going through, but just presenting the life as is a moving force. Where there is a will, there is a way, as the saying goes. Just presenting the real life. If you guys are working on a project, just putting the real life of the people that you're trying to help would move people to donate, to get involved. I've been doing the mission work, mission trips. We've lose people, but I just present the case, the situation, the lifestyle of the people, and that's how people get moved. It's just like a power of storytelling. I'm not a good storyteller, but it's the power of storytelling in your own words that would get people moving. Our club, our Rotary Club, Joe Hamilton, Bob Paget, Jim Stankel, or other Rotarians, when we do presentation, they've never been to Ethiopia or they've never seen it, most of them, but they accepted the reality, what they've seen on the picture, what they've heard from me or from Jim or from Joe when we came back from our travels. So.
Please go ahead.
I answered the question.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful. I think Cecilia has a follow-on.
Yes, it's actually not really a question, but, and pardon me if I don't have this correct, Obsi, but Obsi is a nurse at Stanford Medical Center and had been taking her colleagues on medical missions for years before they launched this project. And so she really knew what the needs of that hospital and the 5 other regional hospitals that are nearby that were all having the same problem of the 12-hour ride. And let me tell you, that is a daunting prospect on the roads in Ethiopia to pick up not nearly enough oxygen cylinders to bring back to the hospital. So, I mean, the impact of this project is incredible.
Thank you.
Well, I really thank everybody for joining us today. It is really an inspirational story, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to share this with our club. I would like to encourage everybody who is joining the program on our website today, and let us know what you think. You'll find a discuss section below, and we really appreciate you sharing and your comments, and we take the time to try and respond to them. Please take a moment to add to that conversation. And for members and Rotarian guests, make sure you fill out the attendance section too. It helps us know about the reach of our efforts, and for those who are Rotarian guests, it also serves as a makeup for a missed meeting. As always, I want to hand over for the final word to our speaker, Opsi.
So as the small Rotary Club like ours in Castro Valley had take on a big project that is the biggest project in the District 5170. If we could do it, any club could do it, but it takes perseverance and determination, and it's not going to be a straight road. It's not going to be all rosy, but just be prepared to face some challenge and meet some obstacles on the road. But just putting your eyes on the beneficiaries, or putting your eyes on what you're going to accomplish with the end result of the project, would make you guys go forward and accomplish what you intend to do in Ethiopia or anywhere else in the world. I did say it earlier, where there is a will, there is a way. That's my final comment. We're reaching out, we're saving lives of about 2.2 million people in that region alone. We're not there to prevent any death that comes from lack of oxygen, but we are there. Our project is there to prevent the death, or to reduce mortality rate, infant death, anything that comes with airway disorder. And now we're in the pandemic from COVID. So this oxygen generator machine is very instrumental in helping COVID patients. So go at it with determination, courage, and I can do this feeling. That is how our BFL did. We never did, we cannot do it. We made a long night meetings. A lot of us drove in the rain at night, long distance for presentations as early as 7 a.m. Driving 2 hours or so. But like, all this is from determination and believing in that we can do it. And I'm sure you guys could do it. And we're a proof for that you guys could make it happen. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and we'll see everybody next week.